What's crazy about this divorce, like compared to Tom Brady and Gisele, is that Tia met Cory Hardrict with nothing. Like, I've followed their marriage and their relationship for a very long time, and she's always given the story that she met him, like, at the bus stop.
Men marry women for comfort versus women marry men for value.
To say that she met him as a football player.
Right.
Right? And I'm pretty sure that she's probably has, other friends who are married to football players throughout her time frame of being Tom Brady's wife, okay? I'm pretty sure that all of them talk about the same thing. Welcome back, everybody. It's your man, Rico Hundo, and you already know the vibes. We got some crazy topics going on, but before we jump into that, we always got to say thank you for all the support. Everybody that has subscribed to our Patreon, that are joining our YouTube member program, as well as tapping into our new D8te Box subscription that we have going on. Now, we got some real dope stuff to talk about today, especially with everything that's going on in the world. But before we do that, let's go ahead and introduce our guest. I'm going to have him introduce himself.
Good to be here. I'm Josh McBride. I'm an entertainment and lifestyle expert and TV host.
You said expert?
That's a great question. My mom says the same thing. Like, how did you get that name? Self-proclaimed.
All right, cool. Yeah. I got that too.
No, you already are that.
Yeah. I like Josh.
Relationship expert.
Josh is dope. So we also have Amanda over here.
Hey guys, it's your girl Amanda. We're back for another episode, and apparently it is divorce season.
Yeah, clearly, right? And we got Marie over here. I don't know if she will be speaking or not. She's camera shy.
Hey Marie.
Hello.
Hey girl.
How's it going?
So let's jump right into it. So we already know kind of about what's going on, currently in regards to some names like Tom Brady and Cory Hardrict. Did I say that correctly?
Yep. Most people would lead with Tia, but
Tia.
Yeah.
Tia. Okay.
Tia Mowry, sister.
Why would they lead with Tia?
She's the lady.
Because
Oh.
She filed for divorce. Everybody knows her more.
See, so let's jump right into it. So that is the table stat about filing for divorce. So we know about 70% of women file for divorce, right? So are we kind of, I don't want to get too far off on a tangent, but I'm just thinking, do we kind of subconsciously use the woman's name first because it's usually her filing for divorce?
Well, I just think that people would lead with Tia just because she's the more popular in the relationship.
Gotcha.
Not just because she filed for divorce, but you led with Tom Brady because we know Tom Brady.
Yeah, but I don't think everybody will lead with Tom. I know Tom. That's my guy. Shout out to
I think you're right. I think when you would say the relationship, like I've known Tia a lot longer than I've known Cory when it comes to media, and every article starts with Tia. I don't think it has anything to do with her being the female in the situation. I think it just has to do with the more known star of the two. No shade to Cory.
No shade to Cory. So let's jump into it. So let's talk about the 5 top reasons for divorce, right? So we do know that infidelity is one of them. Lack of intimacy is another. Communication, money, and then addiction. Now, addiction is kind of the one that stood out most to me. See, I know about the other ones, but I never knew that there's a lot of couples that are struggling with addiction that is actually, going into the route or taking a couple into the route of divorce. I didn't even know that, so it kind of stuck out the most to me. Bringing this or tying this with the Tom Brady thing, right? Because we were talking about this earlier with Marie. And I think that is kind of crazy because... I started reading about it before we actually started filming. And initially it was brought to my attention that there was a little bit of issues there from about 3 years ago, right? There was some tension that had already, rose within a relationship because he was more so absent on the off season. Am I correct, Marie?
You are correct. Her complaint was that he was busy during football season, and her expectation off season, that means I would have a partner, a husband home to help, and he had other engagements.
And he was still MIA.
I don't want to say MIA, but I guess she was disappointed.
Which is crazy because this was the guy that actually retired, right? And then came out of retirement, which makes me think like in that moment, and I'm not a football person, but like you came out of retirement to go back into football, but was the retirement makes you wonder, like, was it her, not blaming the women here, but like, was it her that asked him to be retired to spend more time at home with the family? But that retirement lasted 20 minutes? How long?
Not even.
I mean, it
was short-lived.
It was less than a week, right?
Yeah,
maybe a couple weeks.
Yep. It actually was technically never really announced for a long period of time. It was like hype. And then he mentioned it and then like reneged it, which brings me to the next point that I read right before here is that the tension actually kicked up once he reneged his retirement. In September, about a month ago, right? So then that leads me to believe is like, okay, now is it really tension or like, you're right. Was he, or in my opinion, you're right, expert. Was he really, like, was there really a problem in this relationship? The thing is for me is like, I think a lot of people don't take consideration of how you meet people and embody everything that's going to come with that person. You know, if there's a girl that I want to see, and let's say she's an Instagram model, okay? And I think she's beautiful, and I decide to get married to her. Whatever, we're married for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, it doesn't matter. And then I have some type of insecurity from the amount of men that are constantly, you know, DMing her and liking her stuff and commenting on her stuff. I'm really the one at fault here.
Yeah, but Gisele is like a supermodel also.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if it had anything to do necessarily, and this is an opinion, with her insecurity. I mean, this is also Tom Brady, who is a 7-time Super Bowl champion. You know, he's losing 1 ring now, but that, you know, like I don't think it had anything to do necessarily with like that. I think what it did have to do with, going back to what you were saying, was she probably wanted more alone time with him, and then he was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm going back into it.
I'm going back, right.
And, like, with him being retired at such a young age, they could really still have a life and explore and have sex and travel the world together, you know?
Nah, hell no, bro, because you got to think about it. They got retired. Well, I was bringing that to say that she met him as a football player.
Right.
Right? And I'm pretty sure that she's probably has, you know, other friends who are married to football players throughout her time frame of being Tom Brady's wife, okay? I'm pretty sure that all of them talk about the same thing. They're tired. Tom Brady is, first of all, he's a 40-year-old plus man who's getting slammed on his head by 300-pound young 22-year-old men. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I'm not making an excuse for him not having a low time, but what I am is saying is you already know what he's been doing. You knew this is what he was when you met him. And now his last year, arguably, Tom Brady can't keep playing. He can't. Like, physically, he just can't. So his last year, well, this was according to People magazine. There was a source that said that once he reneged his retirement, that's when the tension had came about.
Makes full sense.
Which to me is not fair. Like, they've been married for how long? 15 years? Long? Like,
oh, gosh, yeah.
A long time?
I definitely get your point, but I feel like if tension started there, it was most likely that they didn't agree on this career decision of his.
I agree with you.
Maybe this is a decision he made on his own and he just needed her to go with it. And that wasn't okay with her because in her marriage, she wanted more time with him. And she got used to the idea of him being retired, thought that she was going to have more time in her marriage to be with her husband. Mm-hmm. And maybe he made the decision for himself that he wanted to get back out there. Causes tension, yeah. I think that even though in the beginning you know what you're getting into, you really have to move as a partnership now that you guys are married. Right. I think that career decisions should be spoken about. It should be level based. Like, let's agree on something. Like, let's agree that this is how we're going to move forward in our relationship. Let's agree that if you are going back, that you know, you'll still have time for me. Let's figure out how this is going to work between us. Maybe that just didn't happen. And
that could have been a joint conversation 10 years ago when he was playing, and they said, you know, play till you're 40, whatever, get the 7 Super Bowl rings you need to get, and then, like, let's wrap it up and have a life together, too. Because this is also, let's give her a little bit of credit of, she was someone that was a major supermodel, right? And that really took the second hand to him and moved to Boston, right? And moved to Boston for how many years? And then moved to Tampa Bay, right? And, like, I'm sure these aren't, look, I'm from Boston, but I'm sure that these aren't necessarily places that a big-time supermodel wants to live, but she's giving up a part of her to support her husband, right? And so I get it. If the tensions would be high also if he's trying to go back into work and she's like, I'm just trying to enjoy my husband and I can't do that, even though we may have had an agreement. I can understand why the tensions may be high.
But this is my thing, and I said this on my Instagram a couple weeks ago, and I was like, you never make a permanent decision for a temporary problem. That's my problem with this. You made a permanent decision with divorce. Well, arguably they can get remarried, but you get what I'm saying.
And just a quick correction. They're seeking divorce lawyers.
Yes.
Right.
I don't know if they're officially getting divorced, so.
If they were to get divorced.
Yeah.
If, hypothetically. This, and what happens is, and this is the worst part, because now the media has gotten involved, and it makes it very hard for anybody, any couple, to kind of rekindle things when you have the media doing this and saying that, and adding more attention to whatever is a tension relationship. But my main thing is, like, people tend to make permanent decisions on temporary situations. Regardless of the case, he's here for 1 year. This year lasts 6 months. Right? There's a 6-month stretch. I'm not saying that he's right, but I'm saying that what happens, and this is part of what we're talking about, is a lack of communication, okay, or a lack of understanding or give and pull. Okay, like if he says, if I'm a guy and I'm like, yo, I really want to do this, I only have 6 more months out of this, let's just thug it out one last time. And she's like, no, I've been doing this for X amount of years, whatever her reasoning is. But at some point in time, it's like, but do you really enjoy your marriage? And if so, how much? For a 6-month season that he's going to be gone, he's going to come back, he's going to retire, hopefully, right? Like, and to credit to Tom Brady, I remember when he had just like kind of announced that he wasn't being retired, he made a statement, and I'm not correlating the two, but I'm saying it's possible. When he said there was a lot going on at home, and so playing football is the only thing that makes me feel like a real person. So now it leads me to believe it's like, okay, I don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors, right? But I don't think that this particular, not speaking about the other variables, but this particular reason is or warrants anyone to seek a divorce lawyer.
What if 5 years ago he said he was going to retire, or 3 years ago, or what if 3 years ago it was the last 6 months that you would have to do?
I believe that.
And then you lied, and then you said 2 years ago it's going to be the last 6 months I'll have to endure, and then you lied, and now it's about you lying to me processing the disappointment, coming back to you and reliving it over and over. Isn't there a point where people get fed up?
And then for you to say that football is the only thing keeping you like feeling like a human?
When you have,
Being
by
like
the way,
a
when you have
person?
kids at home, when you have a wife at home, when for 6 months out of the year you're on the road, and that now my wife has to take the kids to school and pick up after them. And look, I'm sure they have people to do this for them as well. But to be a parent only 50% of the time, and I'm not saying he's not checking in and FaceTiming, whatever, but to be a parent half the time is not probably what she signed up for her life, right? Like what you were saying.
I don't think she knew what she was signing up for.
I don't think she knew that he was going to become a superstar. Like, this is an A-list star.
No, he was dating Jessica Simpson before that. He had already won a Super Bowl, to my knowledge. Maybe even a couple.
I don't know football.
Well, Tom Brady has been, since his rookie year, right? Or I don't know if it was his rookie year or the year after, but early on, within the first 3 years of his career, he was already deemed to be one of the best. Mm-hmm. And then he already, like, within the first 5 years, he won a Super Bowl.
Who was bigger when they met?
She was. She
I
was.
I just feel like no matter how big of a star and like no matter like the popularity, marriage is still a commitment. Like
But to what extent?
If she gave up her career
and
she
life
was bigger than him, she couldn't feel some resentment that I was willing to make this sacrifice and
you're not making any sacrifices. Like, come on, man.
So that's his fault. So this is what we're gonna do now. This is what we're gonna do. We're going to say that because another person decides to give up their career, and the other spouse decides to continue to further their career, there could possibly be a level of resentment, jealousy, and honestly, fulfillment that's probably lacking.
Not jealousy.
And this is all speculation.
If we're talking
speculation.
She's not trying to play football.
Yeah.
Nah, but jealousy in the sense of like you're doing your thing. What you do makes you so happy. When I was doing my thing, it made me happy, and I don't have that same happiness because I'm no longer doing that thing anymore.
Yeah, but if promises were made, like, it's about your word. If you gave me your word that you're going to do something, you got to follow through. If you told me, hey, and there's flexibility, right? Because this is your love. You love to do this, right?
Yep.
All right, so it's like, no, I love to do this 1 year. I'm like, okay, he loves to do it. Fine, 1 year. No, I really, really love to do that. 2 years.
Okay, the money sounds good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
3 years, 4 years, like, my guy, Like, are you playing me or?
And going with him. Remember, like, this person was a supermodel, right? That did fashion weeks and did
4 years?
Italy.
Come on.
And then moves to Boston and then moves to Tampa.
You keep saying Boston.
No shade, but this is like a top.
He knows
He's
Boston
like, I'm
better
from
than all of
Boston,
us.
ain't there? There's nothing
I know,
there.
some Boston fan is going to be like, but like, if you're Naomi Campbell, right?
Yeah.
Let's put it in that way. If you're Naomi Campbell and you get married to somebody, and Naomi Campbell, you know, back in the day, even now, Naomi Campbell is hot. She is a top model, right? And you move to Boston and then you move to Tampa Bay because you're giving up your career, her brand, right? Gisele is a person that you can say Gisele and everybody knows her. And she gave that up for him. And like you said, how many times was it like, okay, this is going to be the last one, but that contract sounds real good, that, you know, we can get that other house. Or this, how many times was
How many houses do you need?
Right. Well, he needed a
I
lot.
think
about
the
the
thing
houses,
about
though.
sacrifices, she gave up one of her happinesses for happiness with him. And then I feel like at this point, she doesn't have either.
And what did he give up?
Yo, I think that there is some level of ungratefulness whenever we talk about.
It's weird that this side of the from here over gets
It's
along.
always a divide with him.
I just had to bark because it's crazy because as a man you get no fair shake. If she gives up her career, first of all, we're talking about things that she possesses. She possesses the power of her career. Now, if it's different if we threw in, hey, Tom Brady said, give up your career for me. But if that never happened and she's like, I'm gonna give up my modeling career because I want to be Tom Brady's wife. This is a conscious decision that you're making. That's not his fault. I don't care about your resentment. Your resentment lies within you, not him. And then on the backside, he's still doing everything that he's been trying to do from the very beginning. I've watched the Tom Brady documentary, and when he got picked as a
football guy, by the way.
yeah, I'm a football guy. And Tom Brady, when he got picked as the last pick in the draft, he made a quote, not verbatim, but in regards to, I'm going to be the best quarterback to ever play this game. And this is what he's doing.
He did it.
So and he's
No, he did.
No, he's doing because
You don't
like
think he did?
No, I think he's did, but it's not did until he's done. Even like Brett Favre, for example. Brett Favre had played until he was like 40-something years old as well. It's not something that's rare. This is something that actually means a lot to him. Now, like I said, if we throw in other variables and say that he coerced or convinced her to give up what she loved to do, I think he's wrong. But when somebody decides to give up everything that they want to do, right, I think that's unfair to blame the other party.
I don't think we were talking about blaming.
You were
Well,
saying, and I agree with you about like, wasn't it about agreeing that it was going to wrap up? Like, okay,
Yeah.
time to wrap up the, you know.
Yeah, I think it's a grace. Like, I think you can have grace for
Yes.
the person you love by saying, okay, because you love this so much, I'm willing to understand that you want to do it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
However, if promises are made and plans are made for our life, and football is brutal, right? And he's older and he's out here getting, like you said, beaten up by 300-pound guys, and he's not young. So she's like, by the time you retire, I'm not even going to be able to enjoy it. We're not even going to be able to do anything because you'll probably have a concussion and a broken hip.
And you're talking about 6 months.
It's going to happen regardless.
You're talking about 6 months too. It's not 6 months. It's training camp. It's
Yeah.
endorsement deals. It's going around to do
whole
media.
nine.
It's. I mean, you're not talking about 6
I don't
months.
think he even. I could be wrong. I don't think he even went to training camp this year. I think he showed up late.
What does that have to do
Well, I'm just saying
He
because
is really defending Tom
That
Brady.
was
I'm just
that's his
defending.
guy.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think it's unfair when we try to justify the fact that somebody is trying to build their personal legacy. Okay.
He's built it.
No, see, the thing is, he's built it for you. He might have built it for you, but for him, he hasn't built it yet. There's still one more thing, or maybe, and maybe that is a redundant process that you're gonna go down a rabbit hole. But at the end of the day, you can't argue Father Time.
But when it will never be enough.
Right.
Because that's his whole identity. He said it himself. I don't know how to be anything but this football player. So if my whole identity is wrapped up in what I do, I don't know who I am. And without it, I'm nothing. So it will never be enough.
But you think
Meaning your
that.
kids.
I love that,
your
and that's why
kids,
you
your
have a
wife. But your kids mean nothing. And I'm not saying this. I'm saying like your home life means nothing. You know, you're playing a board game with your kid at night. No, you can't do that because you're on the road. Like, what, Marie? You're like, does that mean anything to you?
I agree. I feel like if you feel like your life is not fulfilled unless you can create this legacy for yourself, why do you need a wife?
Well, most
What is your wife doing for you? Do you get any fulfillment from your family?
that's like saying like this, right? Bill Gates. Okay, Bill Gates is worth over $100 billion. Bill Gates wakes up still at 5 a.m. to go to his office, and he still works. Okay, so when we're talking about something that, like him playing in the NFL, he can't physically do this forever. It doesn't matter. It's a temporary thing. So him playing one more year, coming out of retirement and saying, you know what, I'm going to give one shot. And I don't think Tom Brady ever announced a retirement in his entire career up until after last season. Mm-hmm. So if this is the first time that he really announced it, this, to me, in my opinion, is probably the first time that they really had this conscious talk about him retiring and leaving. And this is the first time that she might have felt betrayed, right? Because he reneged that statement or that promise. But at the same time, it's like, it's only one more year. He can't physically keep doing this.
I have a question for you guys. And Marie, you can ask it for everything. Is his action is his action self-love or selfish?
Is his action self-love or selfish?
Self-love, like he loves himself.
See what you're
enough
saying?
to do it.
Yeah.
Is his action self-love or selfish?
Okay.
Like I would really like to know because he's doing what's good for him.
Yeah. All right. Both.
Amanda, you can ask.
Shit is both.
Okay. So, as we're exploring Tom Brady and his legacy and what he's trying to build, and comparing that with, us feeling like the fulfillment with his family isn't enough for him, do you think that his actions are self-love or selfish?
Let's ask Josh.
Josh, what do you think?
He's the expert. I'll go after.
You gotta use that until this episode. I think there was a time to be selfish. I think everyone is allowed to be selfish. I think if you are going to choose to get married and have a partnership, and if you choose to have kids, which he does, there is a moment there where if there's parents and you're a parent, you can tell me, and I'm not trying to interview you, but you could tell me that you have to put yourself second and say, hold up, let me take care of my kid, my partner, before I take care of me. Like, let me make sure they eat before I do. And so I look at it a bit selfish because at what point do you put your family first? And with Tom Brady, I'm not sure he has, right? He got a great contract. Maybe Gisele's walking in Tampa Fashion Week. Y'all are shady. But that's it.
I mean, I think that it's both. I think that, like you said, I do agree that everybody gets a certain amount of time to be selfish. And I also do think that a lot of people kind of misconstrue self-love for being selfish. I mean, we all know that, this is sound cliche, but love is blind, right? So sometimes if you love something so much that you believe that that's your identity, that's really more so of a self-love thing to me. Because if I don't know anything outside of this life, I don't know who I am once I retire. A lot of people, especially like athletes, they become extremely bored when they retire because they don't know anything outside of it, especially when you had a 20-plus year stretch. One thing that I picked up from Floyd Mayweather when he retired is he said, I need to retire before I let the sport retire me, and that's something most athletes don't do.
But isn't that putting a Band-Aid on a problem that is deeper than you being a sports star? Isn't that putting a Band-Aid on, if I don't have football, I don't have anything? And he has a wife and kids, and I'm sure and an extended family. Isn't that putting a Band-Aid over a problem that he really needs to go inwards and say, why don't I have self-love? Is it because football is all I know, and I don't know if I'm a kind person, if I'm a generous person, and if I'm a loving human being? Yeah. That's some inner work. That's some self-help books in the Barnes and Noble section that you need to check out.
I think so, but I also think we can't also throw the variable that he's not taking care of his kids or he's not there for his kids. I do know that at one point, 3 years ago, he told me that she was complaining that he wasn't changing diapers. And my thing is, I don't change diapers, but I take very good care of my daughter. You know what I mean? And to your point, I put my daughter, before everybody. And I think it's also a different level of where I'm at versus where he is. You know, I got to make sure I'm setting things up for her so that way when I'm gone, she's good. Tom Brady's already set up. His family and legacy technically is already set up from a financial standpoint. But at the same time, it's like in my mind, the way I process it is it's one more time. That's how I process it. Like, I feel like he got robbed, and he's like, yo, I got robbed. Let me just go back out with a bang. Like, you know, no, we can't give him that.
No, we cannot. Just
Get
to
him, Marie.
circle back to it, right? When we're talking about the top 5 reasons why people divorce, right? And you're talking about communication, the breakdown in communication that happens. And people really sometimes minimize how important communication, your style of communication, how you communicate with your partner, how critical it is to your relationship. So we can circle back into what we're talking about as to why she has a reason to file for divorce. Communication being number 4 as to why women choose to file. Not women, sorry.
You were right.
66% of women. It's not even 70.
But the other thing that I was just thinking about is, like, have y'all read or done your love languages?
Yeah.
Right? Her love language, and I know what mine is.
What's
Mine's
your love
quality
language?
time.
Okay.
So
Expert needs quality time.
I'm leaving this shit. But Gisele might also, right? And
True.
she might not be getting that, right? So when, maybe, gifts is a love language. She probably gets all the gifts she needs to get, right? He's got money to get her gifts. He might do acts of service, right? He might do these things. He might physical touch is another one. But quality time, which is a big love language, it's a lot of people's, she might not be getting.
Yeah, but quality time, I agree. But you've been married to him for over a decade, and just now.
But your love language it might not change.
Like,
No, what I'm saying is, let's say if that was her love language when she first came into the relationship, right? It was something that was lacking from the very, very beginning. Because he has not changed the schedule. I think what really probably happened.
But what if the relationship is what changed? What if he was making?
But I don't do the what ifs.
Making an effort.
Because I can do 1,000
The
what
whole
ifs.
conversation is speculation, by the way. Like we don't know.
No,
Let's call her.
But if we're going to, real quick, just to circle back to what Josh said, if you're going to talk about the love languages, that it's speculated, especially with the research he did, it takes about 2 years to kind of remove that illusion, right? It takes about 2 years for you to kind of show your true self because you're no longer in that illusion state. So a lot of people make the effort to try, if it's words of affirmation, he's probably saying it all the time. If it's quality time, it's all the time. And then, like you said, Rico, maybe they got comfortable with each other after they got married, and it went from words of affirmation and everything else to nothing. And then she was like, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah. And you know what the crazy thing is?
agree.
People
Happens.
said that there was a
I didn't
source.
sign up for this.
People said that there was a source that Tom Brady was actively still trying to make things work. This was back in September, though. So things probably.
That was somebody else on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that said that, probably.
Possibly. You never know.
I mean, but
we're all
really
doing
never
speculation,
know.
right?
The divorce has not been filed.
Right.
Well,
Right.
yeah.
It hasn't been filed. So
They're seeking,
Yeah.
yes, divorce lawyers, which might not mean anything because they're both like, well, shit, I want all the money and not some of the money, and it's better to stay together.
Maybe this is just Tom Brady having an addictive or an addiction to playing. You know, an addiction to that thrill when he's on the field. You know, the whole thing that goes with being an NFL player. And if he is truly struggling to let it go, it could be an addiction thing that's not or prohibiting them from having a proper communication.
it's all speculation, but they're not. The divorce isn't filed,
Terrible
so best
speculations.
of luck to Tom Brady and his wife Gisele.
Yes, we
Best
do
of luck
wish
for
them well.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Shout out to Tom and Boston.
Yeah.
And Boston. Let's not forget.
The expert. I'm done.
Another divorce that has been getting some very heavy social media presence is Mowry and Cory Hardrict. Now this one was a little hard on my heart because I really love them. So Tia actually filed for divorce very recently, and they stated
Irreconcilable differences.
What's crazy about this divorce, like compared to Tom Brady and Gisele, is that Tia met Cory Hardrict with nothing. Like, I've followed their marriage and their relationship for a very long time, and she's always given the story that she met him like at the bus stop. He had like a couple dollars on him. He like didn't have anything. She was driving. He's at the bus stop. He's trying to get at her. He was a struggling actor at the time. Tia was well within her career because we all know that she was a child actress. And, you know, she really just liked him just for who he was and not for what he had. And I feel like they made a very good relationship for all of these years. They have 2 beautiful kids. And I feel like it looks to be like such a picture-perfect relationship on Instagram, on social media, that I feel like this divorce came as a shock to a lot of us. Me especially. I'm a sister fan. I love the Mowrys.
Some people said they weren't shocked.
Really? And you know what? What's crazy is that some people were like, they weren't shocked, and then there's a video started surfacing of them doing an interview on marriage and how marriage isn't easy, you got to put in work. And he like quietly told her to shut up and let him finish talk. Because I think he interrupted her a little bit. And he's like, let me talk. And she's like, oh, sorry.
And that's when she goes, yes.
Sorry. Like, she's like, oh, sorry,
Yeah,
go
she
ahead.
said that.
And
made a face.
Right. It was the face too, like, oh, like, my bad. And I was just like, okay, well, they were like, maybe this is why, like, see how he treats her. And I was just like, honestly, I didn't see anything like too wrong with it. I was just like, you know, they're a couple. Like, maybe she has a problem with interrupting him sometimes. Like, he's a man, he doesn't want to be interrupted. He's talking. He doesn't want to be embarrassed. I didn't really think that it was like a huge deal. And for you to pull a video that was like so long ago to be like, this is how he treats her, this is why they're getting divorced, I was just like, this fucking bullshit. She put out a statement and that they just decided to go their separate ways.
So what there was said, 2 things actually. She was on a red carpet recently, I think it was last weekend, and it was an interview with Access Hollywood, and I don't know if you saw this, but the interviewer said, you are glowing, and Tia said, you're like the 5th person to tell me that tonight. Now, days later, she announced the divorce, which was really interesting. Like, was she glowing because of the divorce, right? Was she glowing because this was finally this negative energy was not out there? Also, recently, someone had posted on social media, on Instagram, I believe, saying that he cheated on her. And he wrote back saying lies under the Instagram post from that comment that was a rando comment. Who knows what the deal was, you know? But I wonder from your list what was lacking in their relationship. If there was something.
Research shows that women are generally much more happy at following a divorce.
Of course.
So
that's why
she was glowing.
And I believe there's also a prenup already put in place so that...
That's why she was glowing.
That's why she was really glowing in that, you know, she's not getting that sister rerun money, any of it touched.
Yep. And that's crazy. I mean, you know what? If a guy came on this world and said, yeah, I love my wife. I met her at the bus stop. And, you know, I decided she had nothing. She was nothing. And I decided to help her because, you know, I had the ability to. He would be called a misogynist, right? But when we have somebody like Tia that can, you know, state this story, which I think that the story shouldn't be stated in either way because it's a degrading story if you ask me. Maybe, you know, you can lighten it up, humble beginnings. I don't care how you decide to do it. That's my first little thing about that. Now, secondly, to answer the question is, I really don't know which one it could be. Everybody buys into how relationships look on Instagram, like Amanda said. And they want this to be something. They want that relationship to be, you know, kind of like their role model of relationships. And it puts a lot of pressure on these people. And a lot of relationships are living in a disillusion or an illusion, either or, right? And I think that what ends up happening is eventually it wears and tears the relationships down. Could there have been an infidelity factor? I'm pretty sure if there was, they know. And I would think that the way that they filed or are filing the divorce is really just Tia trying to look out for him because she probably genuinely cares about him. Because if she said that he did something to her or was the cause of the divorce, his career would probably take a a big hit, you know. I mean, that's my opinion of it. I just don't get it though, you know. I don't get it. I never understood it, you know, like the Jada and Will situation. Everybody was saying that they were a couple goals, and we watched that, you know, completely get beat up and battered for, 2-3 years straight. And I just think that it's unrealistic. Everybody wants to post the happy moments on their Instagram. I'm not saying post on your Instagram you crying with your spouse, but if you're honest with people, then that one little thing doesn't seem as big when it's constantly being known. Look at Gucci Mane and his wife. You can see that they had a lot of ugly moments, and them rebuilding and recouping and rebounding allows them to be an iconic couple, or a couple to be like, hey, look, you know what? Like, guys, from a guy standpoint, right? Hey, you know, she held it down, and, you know, not only did she help lift him up and her up as a unit while he was gone away, but then he came out and he's treating her right, which is dope because she deserves to be treated right. And I think that we need to start making that more normal and stop buying into the hype of this perfect couple thing.
We really never know what's going on with any couple, like, despite what they put on social media. But
maybe
know,
Kanye and Kim.
Well, yeah, we know everything about them, right?
Yeah.
Yo, Kanye's hilarious.
And also a bozo, but
He's a Gemini.
he is. But let's
sorry.
I digress.
Sorry, man.
Okay, I digress. So, according to the Whitley Law Firm article that, you know, we read, the number one reason for women filing for divorce was they feel held back in their marriage.
Gisele, didn't we just talk about this?
I
What does that mean, held back?
They still have to do the motherly, wifely duties in the house while still having the same full-time jobs as a man. I can see this being a reason.
So while 20% of men did the housework, 80% of women who were working still had to manage to do housework, laundry, picking up after the kids, cleaning up. 80% of women are doing it. You're both working. So again, you circle back to that feeling resentful about we're not sharing the responsibility.
Guys, my girl works and she cleans, and I pay about 90% of these bills. We both work. I don't want to hear that.
No, but you know what the thing is?
What I'm saying is that there's an unknown variable within that stat, Miss Fact Check lady, right? That says, well, how much of those 80% of women that are also working, how much are they actually contributing towards the actual finances in the house? So I'm not saying that they don't. I'm not saying that they do.
No, but you know what the thing is, Rico?
It says that in there, Marie. I will fact check with your own computer.
It's completely normal. Like, it's kind of like old school for, you know, to be like, okay, well, the woman does this, and the woman has to cook, and the woman has to clean and do the laundry or whatever. That's kind of like an old school kind of like. Yeah. But it still exists now. Like, we still follow those traditions. We still follow that. Like, it's not uncommon in a household for you to find that the woman still does all of these things while still carrying on her full-time job. The difference with them is we know that Tia brings in more of the income.
And Tia is the star of the relationship also.
Yeah.
And Tia is always going to have a better salary than him. One thing I really wanted to mention on this was this was bad timing for Tamara, who just came out with a book. And she was doing morning show talk shows and kind of doing the talk show circuit at the same time. So, of course, one of the questions that I'm sure the publicist probably told the studio was like, don't ask anything about her sister. She did this interview, Tamara, with, I believe it was Hoda and Jenna on the Today Show.
Right.
And Tamara answered it so perfect in saying that is their relationship. I'm going to let them handle their own relationship. And it was almost like, even though as the twin sister, you can tell how close and respected each other was in that situation, because it was, I'm not going to come here to talk shit about my sister. I'm not going to talk shit about Cory. I'm not going to talk, I'm not going to give any context to the situation other than I wish them the best. And I just think that also says class, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just really
classy
became
girls.
Yeah, and it just became really terrible timing with her promoting a book.
Now, I think that that's dope, and I believe that. I feel like that. I wish that's how things were more like. A lot of times when we start to hear about these divorces and or possible divorces, there's always shade going somewhere, and a lot of the sources are usually like falsely quoting and or writing. And I think that's something that we need to work on too as people. We need to also work on giving people the grace of having a divorce. It's not easy, and not everything works. And when it doesn't work, I don't think it should be a, aha, I knew it. I don't think it should be a, oh, well, what did he do? I don't think it should be a, oh, well, what did she do? And that's why we have to have these types of phrases to say that we're not pointing the finger at anybody. Her being the star of the relationship and, her basically picking him up from nothing and turning him into something, kind of lived with him. And maybe as he started to, make his strides or whatever, that could have potentially caused some friction. I don't think he was talking to her like that before when he was at the bus stop, when he said, don't
Maybe he felt inferior.
That's what I think.
I mean, he still has to push, in some way to not feel inferior, but like feel like a man, like, feel dominant in the relationship. Because even though it's like Tia's the bigger star, maybe she makes the more money.
Mm-hmm.
He still has a lot of films, by the way.
No, he has. No, I love him. I love him as an actor.
Would you call him A-lister, though?
No, he's definitely not in the
definitely
Would you call
not.
her an A-lister?
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't call her an A-lister either, but she
he's a
she
working
holds
actor.
more popularity.
Right. So if you're going to do an A, B, C, D, what would she be and what would he be then?
Okay, just in case she ever sees this, I don't even want to answer
I give her a
that.
B plus,
I don't even like.
What would you give him?
My girl.
a C plus.
Right. No, but I'm just saying, like, I think even though he might have been a struggling actor, he's definitely been in a few films and has the potential to actually, get. You don't know.
I also think that I don't think that he went into every audition. I'm sorry. I don't think that she went into every audition room that he was going into and being like, you should hire this. He has street cred, right? Like, and I don't think he necessarily used her for that. Yes, she is the bigger name star, but I don't think in the world of auditioning and meeting your own agents and managers and all that, like the reality is like she didn't walk him into these audition rooms and she was like, oh, this is my husband, you should really cast him. No, I don't think it was like that.
You're right, but I'm sure, as you know, like in the entertainment industry, like knowing people.
Of course,
does a
there was
lot.
introductions.
So it's like I'm dating this person, I'm in a relationship with this person, I'm
Right.
married to this person. Yeah, I can. This producer is looking for an actor, like
Fair.
It could be that simple.
Right.
It doesn't have to mean like, oh, I'm gonna push his name, like do that because
Right.
that's my husband, or like, okay, just stop the audition. You don't even have to do that. Like my husband can do this. Like it doesn't have to be just that, but it's like, she knows more people than I do. She's like been in this industry more than I do. I'm struggling right now. I want to be an actor. I want to, I'm here. I want to get here. She can help me.
And I'm sure yeah, we're talking about him, and I haven't had many conversations about him
Yeah.
before today.
About him specifically. About him specifically.
No shade.
I'm
Real
kind
talk.
of tight he signed the prenup, though. Like, come on, bro. This was a chance to
Are
get
you
back for the
joking?
guys.
That she wasn't gonna get with him if she didn't. That's that sister money. You want like that Family Matters, that step by step, that full. You probably don't know what I'm talking about. That Full House money. Like what? Prenup.
I mean, I get that, but like, there are so many guys who have it all, marry a girl who don't have anything. There's no prenup signed, and then they get divorced. And I actually quoted this here. There are more rich women by product of divorce than by actual work. I want guys to be like, yo, I'm not signing that prenup. Okay, you pick me up from the bus stop. You know how many women I seen get picked up from the bus stop? It's time for us to win. Listen, and
So confused. I am a
I'm
man,
just-
but
I'm
I'm clearly a man, but I'm also
but you're
like
not Rico.
Yeah,
so
I'm
it's
not.
we're
understandable.
different, but you're an expert, and I'm a perspectivist.
I wouldn't even. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going with that. I'm not taking that.
So let's also jump right into MacKenzie and Daniel Jewett, right? Did I say that correct?
Yes,
You didn't. You missed Mackenzie's last name.
Okay, MacKenzie Bezos. All right, MacKenzie Bezos. You're right, and Daniel Jewett is another similar to a certain general perspective situation. It's a woman who had the money, she had everything, her life was completely set in terms of a financial aspect, and she marries a guy who is, I'm not gonna say he was struggling, but he was a science teacher, so he could be struggling, he could not be struggling, I don't know, maybe he's the supervisor of his department, I have zero clue, but
Just a science teacher.
but
A happy science teacher.
He's a happy science teacher.
but how happy is he getting divorced now? Because like the thing, did he sign a prenup?
I don't know if he signed a prenup.
He better not have signed a prenup.
I'm sure he signed.
I'm sure she had enough people on her side.
She has no right to make him sign for a prenup.
Why?
Why? Because how did she get her money?
Did they file irreconciled differences?
Well, 60% of people who file for divorce file for irreconcilable differences.
I really just, I mean, for this science teacher's case, I really hope that he didn't sign a prenup. Honestly, it's just because
Why?
like being in a relationship
He was here
with
3 minutes.
with 3 minutes.
I mean,
How
he
long
was.
was how long was their
I mean,
marriage?
Maybe a year, 2.
They literally, they weren't together very long at all. I remember when Jeffrey Bezos was getting divorced, which was not that long
I
ago.
think it was during COVID.
Okay, so let me just finish up my point. Like,
both, like,
because
jump
I was just like,
both
oh,
were like-
well, I didn't know that fact. I didn't think that they were married that short of a time. But I was just saying, imagine, being married to someone very wealthy, and you've like had this whole lifestyle. Yeah, you still continue to be a science teacher because that's what you love.
That's all you have.
That's all you. Let's not say
shading
that's all
Steve?
like
What's his name?
that's all you have.
Why are you shading?
There's a Steve in your life.
There really isn't. That's the crazy part.
It's like, okay, walking away from this relationship, it's just like, if it wasn't their fault, I think that they should walk away with something.
We were here 2 minutes.
If it wasn't their fault, though.
How long? Can you look up how long they were
2
together?
years. I don't know. Together.
And that's why I asked if they were filed a reconciled difference, because it was just like, okay, well, what was the reason? What was the reasoning for this divorce?
Okay, it's
Because she was rich,
Hush.
and the same reason, like Tia. I think that a lot of times when, I believe, this is just a personal opinion, when you take on another partner who is substantially lower than you, right? And
Financially?
financially lower. I was gonna say
Black for saying lower than you.
no. I was gonna
You get it.
I was gonna say lower than you in a financial status.
Got it.
Right. There is a certain, not everybody, ego that comes with it, and sometimes the person is okay with it until they get to a point and now they're no longer okay with it. Or sometimes the person was just never okay with it, but they just bit their tongue until they got to wherever they wanted to get to, right? And I think that when you take somebody like MacKenzie Bezos, who, what did she win, like 50, 60 billion dollars or something crazy like that? And then she goes and I don't even know how she found a science teacher.
What do you mean?
Like how do you
like
find
what they like.
Tinder.
Oh, MacKenzie Bezos on Tinder. I would download the app today. But how do you find?
Year union.
Right.
1.5.
I was thinking about this on the ride here, and I had told my friend this, that, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like men marry women for comfort versus women marry men for value. And the comfort being, let's talk about the man first, is the man says, okay, I can be comfortable with that person. I can come home to that person. I can have that person by my side, whether I'm going out. I can have sex with that person. And then a woman really looks at kind of, and no shade to men, obviously, but the women look at a man with more value. How can they level up? How can they do better? How can they have an all-around person that they value more so than just someone that they can come home to and watch a movie with? But I don't know if that's my own opinion.
Love and value for women, it's both cards. I feel like sometimes men don't really think that way. I feel like women more so think that way.
Think about
I think women love
Yeah.
a man when he has value. Women don't be loving men without value.
Right.
He's
Are you
this.
crazy?
He's
Women
that.
be stupid in love.
Like,
They don't be thinking about value all the time.
no, the way they opened their heart to it became a value. And I think that both sides of people date with potential in mind, right?
For sure.
So now, if I'm that guy who's the coolest guy and I'm doing all these talk shows and podcasts and, I'm on, all these different things, I'm on set doing movies and whatnot, a girl's going to look at me and be like, okay, I see his value in the sense of, where he's going. Now, if she talks to me and around my friends have a high level of respect for me. Strangers have a high level of respect for me, not because I'm like a star, but just because of the person I am. She goes, okay, that's another check for value because he's respectable. Then if I treat her good, that's another another check because he treats me. It's a bunch of value that actually goes, and then she goes, I love you. Then she goes, I love you. Right? And that's when they open their hearts. But I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, to agree with what you said, when a woman can see the value of a man.
Agreed for the first time.
Love it.
No, we agreed twice.
Okay, sorry.
When
Becoming an expert.
I'm trying. It's gonna happen today. I got my notes. I do think that when a woman finds value in a man, then she's able to fall in love with him. Now, a man, when it comes to a man, it's comfort and also control. Right? A lot of rich men date women without money because they want to have the upper say-so when it comes to the relationship. If I'm paying everything and I'm covering everything, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying every single thing needs to be controlled. I'm just saying in the totality, when the game time decision needs to be made, he's like, okay, let me put my pants up and let me wear the pants, right? But if, for example, the science teacher, he doesn't have that same level of control. He doesn't have that same level. Like, he was married for comfort, if you ask me. Because what value are you? No shade to biology teachers and chemistry teachers out there, but a $1 billion woman, like, how do you find value?
36 billion.
A billionaire.
Billionaire. Sorry. A billionaire, it's going to be hard for you to find value in a school teacher, and diving a step deeper, there's usually oftentimes reasons for people's careers that are blocking them.
Sounds like she was in love with him for whatever reason, for whatever he did for
rebound?
her.
I think it was a shot at
Whatever
Jeff.
she felt for him, she was in love and she wanted to marry him. And maybe she soon realized that maybe the love wore out and maybe there was no value to her after a while.
No, the Bunsen burner turned off.
Exactly, so she could not stay there. That's what it sounds like to me.
It sounds like she was like, yo, you think you could have had me, Jeff, because you were the richest man in the world. I'm going to show you why I don't need your money. I'm going to go get me Douglas Steve.
Daniel.
I'm going to go get me the science teacher.
But the crazy part is like, wouldn't you want to be there? And this is just real talk. Like, wouldn't you want to be there when Jeff found out that she was dating like a $60,000 science teacher in the middle of nowhere? Like, for him to laugh, like, what was his reaction? Like, what was it?
He said, "I'll give it 12 months." Is there a time that most divorces happen throughout the year?
Yes, there actually is.
Summer?
From
winter.
Hold on, I have it.
Why? Wouldn't you think it would be summer because everyone's out looking good?
They got tired of watching everybody during the
It
summer.
happens mostly in the winter, winter to spring.
Why?
Probably because of seasonal depression.
And they're like inside, cooped up with somebody, and they're like,
Oh yeah, and that's when all the
let's talk about
holidays fall, right?
that's why it's hard though. Like,
Sometimes seasonal depression really happens because of the holidays. Like, holidays really mean a lot to some people, and it's like, you didn't do this. I haven't been feeling this. Like, I don't really know. You might not be. You might not be it anymore.
Really?
why'd she take a drink after she said that? Is there a story?
Yeah.
It
hit home. It hit home.
Promises were made.
Choking.
I feel like Amanda's like,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Amanda's like,
Don't get
promises
nervous.
were made.
Well, you gotta think about it, right? There was a lot or influx of breakups and divorces throughout COVID,
Right.
right? I guess people were finding out who they really married. Are they getting tired of each other? You know, like,
Being at home with them too much.
yeah, but I think that should never be a thing for marriage, right? If we're at home together, I'm not saying nobody gets tired of each other, but not for a breakup. I think that usually that happens when you start to really fully see what and who they are. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, I can't stand that this person, every time, he eats a piece of chicken, he has to eat with his mouth open. You know what I mean? And before it didn't bother you because y'all only ate together 4 times. Now you're eating together 12 in 4 days.
Right.
It's not about the chicken.
But I'm just saying, like.
But you're spending 100%
But
of
sometimes
the
it
time.
is the chicken. Yeah. At the beginning, you're so in love with somebody that you just, you don't care. It would bother you, normally, but like them so much that you just don't even care that they're opening their mouth. While
bothers you.
It bothers me, but it's just like, stop doing that. Like, why you always do that? Like, but now it's just like, yo, for real, that I like close your fucking mouth.
No, it bothered you.
Fucking
back
disgust
then.
me.
I think I agree with Rico for the second time today.
Third time.
Third time in that.
Hold on, let me put my tallies.
Yeah, and that paper has everything on it. Everything you've wanted is on that paper. I think I agree with that, though, is that normally somebody's going off to work, somebody's going to the gym, somebody's going to grocery shop. In the pandemic, nobody going anywhere. You're going into the other room maybe, and if you're lucky, you have another room, right? There's a lot of people that were living in studios, which I was like, how the hell are you doing that? But this is probably the first time that everyone was on top of each other going, damn, I really see how, like, I'm watching you wipe your ass now. Like, and I even that was a private moment because I was out to work by the time you were getting up for the day, right? Yep. And absence makes the heart grow fonder. We know that. Yeah. But, like, this was the first time in life that you weren't even leaving for that hour, so I knew that I could, like, have that quiet time, that you were going to go to the gym between 5 and 6, and I was going to be alone, so I can go, oh, my God, now the house is quiet. The TV isn't on, the radio, I'm good.
I just had this whole conversation, and my girl got upset about it, right? Because I dropped the kids off at school, I drop her off at work, and then I go back to the house, and I was just like, there's nothing moving, there's no kids, there's no nothing, and it's just such a beautiful thing, right? And my girl's like, yo, pick me up from lunch. I said, really? Like, her job is like 3 minutes from me. So I'm like, all right, so I get her. She's like, so did you miss me? I was like, what, you want the truth? Like,
well, why'd you have to say that, asshole?
Because what do you want me to do, lie, say yes?
Just say yes.
You know, that's the problem.
Just say yes.
If
you
I
want the truth?
Why
are you doing all that?
If I start lying to you, I have to lie forever.
Some things can be white lies and small
right.
lies.
Nah, I do all.
And that's asshole.
I told her, no, I had a great time actually getting to really sit down and just getting some peace and quiet and some me time. Especially because I work around the clock. You know what I'm saying? I like we were talking before, I haven't had a job in about 7 years. So I go ahead and I do everything, every gig that is. I never had a management. I've been doing this by myself. So when I can sit down and actually just decompress, it's a beautiful thing for me. And honestly, I don't want to have to lie to anybody. I don't want to have to lie to my partner. White lie, black lie, blue lie. I don't want to have to. If I can't be honest with you, I can't monitor the way I talk to you, right? In a sense where with honesty. Right? I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to be like, well, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Well, not that, but, you know, I shouldn't think I don't want to hurt your feelings and be like, yeah, I missed you so much. I'm glad that I just picked you up after you were gone for 3 hours.
She probably was saying it in such a light way.
Right.
She's a Gemini. You know,
no, honestly, this is the appropriate answer. You know, I actually had some good time alone. I did this. I laid down. I chilled out.
Well, I said, do you want the truth?
Said, no.
No, you said you want the truth?
I said, do you want the truth? And she said yes, but she signed up for it. She could have said no. So I gave her the option, because that's what women love, right? The option to do or the option to don't. So I gave her the option. Do you want the truth? Yes. Well, I actually loved being home for the few hours that I was decompressing. I don't get it often, and it was a beautiful thing. You know, that's not a bad thing. And then she got mad.
I mean, like, I feel like
that's psychotic.
But did you say, before you said that answer, did you say, no, I didn't miss you?
No, I didn't say it like that. I'm just saying, like, did you want the truth?
But did you say no?
I did say no. I did say no, and then I carried on.
Sometimes you have to pick your conversations and your battles, and I think for me in that moment, I think I'm just too tired. Yep, sure did. Sure missed you. And I feel like you could have saved a lot in that moment.
Yeah, but
you could have still gave your beautiful answer because it was very beautiful.
Hell no.
All that time alone, like great for you. Great for you. But just say I did appreciate the time alone. That's all you have to say.
You know what? Right. My thing is this, right? I believe this world has gotten to a point where they don't even want the truth no more. And this is sickening. It's utterly sickening to me. The fact that I can't be honest with you.
I love the truth, babe.
Everybody claims they want you to be honest, but I've been doing 100 white lies about me being retired, right? now let's bring it in fruition, right? 100 white lies, and that one-on-one is the deal breaker, and I'm the liar, I'm the bad guy. But if I was just honest with you from the very beginning,
You know what? Can I just say something real quick, even though I was like not trying to talk? Like,
Thank you.
People always do that where it's like, I'm transparent, I'm blunt, and I'm direct. And it's like, I don't think it's an issue about you being truthful. I don't think it's an issue about you being transparent. But don't use that as a way to be abrasive. It's
And
how,
an asshole.
Right. It's how you're communicating with me. A lot of people will be like, I'm just direct and blunt. You look bad. And it's like, dude, that's like,
Right.
Say, fix your collar.
Right.
Or change your shoes.
Right, like that, I'm not a huge
bitch.
fan of that. You look better in the purple one, or you look like,
right.
and that's where you fucked up.
No, I did it.
That'd be Rico.
I said you want the
That'd be
truth, and I gave it.
Rico.
But
But why does it? You made it a longer conversation than it actually needed to be.
Because the thing
Exactly.
is, you need to know the type of people that you're dealing with, right? And a lot of times you don't know.
Marie.
I know, but this is why I'm taking the expert part away for a second.
Take my title, my self-proclaimed title.
Not fucking
No,
around.
you can take it.
I just think that in my and I'm a big believer in picking your own battles, right? Or picking the right battles, picking and choosing your battles. Now, picking and choosing your battle about being missed when you were only gone for a couple hours is crazy to me. Cause like this is something that I shouldn't really have to pick about. This shouldn't even be a battle. Sorry.
If you had said, actually, babe, I really enjoyed that me time, right? And it would have went into my mind. So like next Tuesday when I'm like, let me call him to pick me up. You know what? He liked that me time. I'm gonna have lunch here. Let him have that. Instead of no.
No, but the thing is
You didn't say no.
well, I said
He did
I-
say
I
that.
did
He
say
said
no.
he said no.
I said I did say
I
no.
was
No.
trying
Josh,
to.
you're trying.
But I can't
You
get
be
there.
trying for him.
But the thing
don't.
is this is how you establish trust in relationships. And I feel like majority of those relationships that are failing is because there's no trust, because people can't even be honest about the small things. To me, if you lie to me about a small thing, in my mind, you're capable of lying to me about a big thing. So now, me not being missed, I don't internalize it and personalize it as if I'm undesired. And if that is the case, if she's feeling that way, then that means that we need to have a lot of self-help books in the Barnes & Nobles to figure out why is that something that is putting you in that space. When I'm honest, it also allows somebody to be like, well, you know what? At least I know they'll tell me the ugly truth. I don't know what everybody wants in this world, but I know what I want. You know what I'm saying? I know if I asked, did you miss me? You'd be like, honestly, I didn't really miss you. I was having a really good time, but you know what? I'm here now. That would be cool with me because it'd be like, well, damn, all right. Like, at least I know you're keeping it real with me and I know who you are. I know how you feel. I'm not guessing.
that's
I'm not telling you don't look bad in this dress. Like, if you're like, do I look good in this dress? I'm like, that dress does not suit you.
But you didn't lie. What I said wasn't a lie. And it's not about you for 5 seconds.
But
it's about her and how she processes stuff. So while you process it in your way, which is totally cool, she might process it in a different way. And rephrasing it is not a lie. It's actually encouraging her.
It's called omitting.
It's not.
Because I didn't answer your question.
No.
And
You said, actually, babe, I really enjoyed that meeting.
But I didn't say yes, I did, or I
You
didn't.
didn't say, yes, I missed you, but. No, it's not but.
I'm saying you omitted the answer.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, I did, because I didn't tell you. So now it goes to a point where, well, did you miss me or not?
No, I'm letting you know. So
Would she have said that?
Yes, that's what. So did you miss me or not? I'm like, now we got to the whole point. It was like, so you was trying to lie to me.
That's just like digging.
Well, that's what she is. She's a Gemini. They dig.
Can you stop? Can you
Shout out Kanye.
stop?
I don't know about zodiac. I don't know.
I want to hear more about the expert.
What do you want to know?
Everything.
My self-proclaimed title.
That's a great topic.
Let's
Let's
start
start
there.
there.
Sure. I've always been into entertainment. When I was a kid in high school, I worked at a Boston radio station called Kiss 108. It's the Kiss stations. And I loved being able to be there and take the requests and write the entertainment news. And when they said write the entertainment news and I was 16 years old, I was like, I don't know how to write. I don't know what I don't know what you're supposed to say. And I would write it and I would pass it to the person on air and he would read it word for word. And I was like, oh shit, I have to make this good. And from there, it was just a jumping off point of like loving to be able to be in the entertainment world. From there, I interned at Entertainment Tonight in college. And then when I moved to the city shortly after, I took a lot of free work and did a lot of hosting and a lot of contributing for free all over. And then I got offered a job. One day I felt really excited about, let me message every executive producer there is on every show, Access Hollywood and Entertainment Tonight and Extra and E. And OK TV, which was OK Magazine's television show at the time. And I said, I'm going to be really eager, and I'm going to send emails, and I'm going to send follow-ups. And nobody got back to me. And so I followed up, and nobody got back to me. And one producer got back to me, and he was from OK Magazine. He said, I'm interested. Like, I like what you have. I had a little reel, which is like a tape of yourself at that moment. Mm-hmm. And he said, let's meet and let's talk. And I said, all right. So we met, we talked, and he said, if you have some ideas that you want to bring to the show, let's see. So at the time, I had created a company with a couple friends called Style Confidential, and it was all about going backstage at Fashion Week and getting something confidential about celebrities. And I would interview the celebrity and say, give me something confidential. So I had some tape to show. So after that meeting, I got an email about Carmen Electra was doing something for Fashion Week, and I was like, all right, let me submit this. And they said, we'll take it. We want you on our show. We're going to do it. You can cover the event. And so a few days later, I went to this event and covered it and talked to Carmen Electra on a red carpet. And that was the first of really like working in television. And from there, I started contributing to the Today Show and The Talk out in LA and Wendy Williams. And then that, kind of was for five years on Wendy, and then all over. Last year, I did a lot of Nick Cannon's show. So self-proclaimed, yes, but there was a bit of expertise, I guess, that you could say that came from that as well.
That's dope. Let me ask you, or do you have any questions? Because I have a lot.
Okay, we'll start with the questions that you do have. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
I'm so uncomfortable.
It's gonna be short-lived. So, give me something confidential.
About a celebrity? This was about me. Oh, God. To be honest, I'm an open book. When it comes to, if you follow me on social, I'm an open book. I really think that, and not to make a tangent, but I think that a lot of people on social media try to show you the best of, and not that I'm trying to show you the worst of, but I'm trying to show you the real of, right? Mm-hmm. Like what's really me. And I think the way that I've been able to connect with viewers, and I'll go to different shows in different markets, Chicago, Baltimore, Connecticut, LA, Dallas. And I think one of the reasons that I've kind of grew is because I always wanted to be real. And I didn't try to be something I wasn't. And I didn't try to act a way that I didn't want to act. I didn't put on a voice. The way I talk right now is the same way that I talk on air if I was on the Wendy Williams Show. I'm sad that it's gone. To wherever, So when you say confidential, for me, it's like there's not a lot of secrets.
Gotcha.
There's not a lot of secrets. I think that you find success with that in at least the entertainment industry, because I think a lot of people put on this face of what they think they should be. Mm-hmm. But then it comes to this whole, you kind of make the full circle and go, wait, but that's not what I am.
Yep. I'm
straight through.
I have a question. Who is your favorite person that you've interviewed?
That's a good question. And I always come back to like an Adam Sandler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Eve, I really loved working with. I had interviewed Eve and then in New York for this show that OK Magazine was, and then I got booked on The Talk to go out to LA and be a part of, they called it the Top Talker, and you basically talk about things like we talk about here, where it's like you bring up a relationship and then you talk about like the relationships in our lives. Yeah. And that was Eve was one of my favorites, and she smells really good. I'll always remember that.
That's funny.
Yeah. There's so many great ones. I can't even think about it. There's so many.
So, all right, let's go full circle, right? Can you describe to us what was the best relationship that you've had personally, and what made it the best?
We went the other way with that one.
Well, we were talking about relationships, so I'm like, well, let's look. I want to know about his.
Let's look into your love life.
Wow.
Well, you said you guys used to talk about it.
Great. I think friends that have become family for me, and I think that, I live in New York City, and you do too.
Yeah, I do.
And I think that New York is such a huge place, and you can get lost in the sauce real quick. And I think being able to build a sense of community and family in a city where you can be so lost and so in your apartment and not want to go out and not want to go out to the clubs and not want to do anything, that when you're building a group of like solid friends around you that really become family, for me is key. I just had a big birthday party, and the takeaway from, just shout out real quick, I had Nina Sky surprise perform, and then Maya came out and surprise performed.
That's dope.
And what the one takeaway that people said, that was a quick shout out, but the one takeaway that a lot of, if not everyone, said from the party was that there was a sense of family and community in that room, and that everyone was there, and it didn't matter if you were gay or straight or black or white or Asian, everybody was in that room. And to me, that's like makes my heart so big, and is always the person that I've wanted to be. And I think that I'm transparent in that regard.
I think that was a great answer. I mean, I wasn't asking for that, but we'll go with it.
But full circle moment, always the person that I've wanted to be. And I think that's what Tom Brady is missing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Circle.
But I think it's taken me a while to get there also.
Yeah, but you did the work.
And that isn't easy work. I started therapy a year ago, and I don't want to make this the Josh show, but I started therapy a year ago, and I didn't have a reason to go into therapy. I was just like, I think I should go. And I think it's like an outlet that I can have an objective view that doesn't know anybody in my life, but that can give me that kind of, I never liked a therapist that was like, okay, tell me more. Bitch, I'm here to ask you questions. Tell me something. Tell me what I should do. Fuck you, I'm paying you. And I started a year ago, and it changed my life. And you should really go.
Get the hell out. All right, with that being said.
I actually want to, before I'm kicked off my parents' health insurance, I want to go.
You should. It is life-changing.
Yo, I think that was great.
So did your birthday just pass?
I'm a Virgo. Yeah, it just passed, but are you a Virgo?
No,
Okay.
I hate them.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't I sided with this part of the table in the beginning?
You messed up.
You're right.
But happy belated birthday.
Thank you. It was
Are you
guys.
September Virgo?
August Virgo, but I did the
August
party
Virgos.
during New York Fashion Week, and it's always,
nice.
everybody needs to come next year. The year before that, we had Ja Rule surprise perform. It was a good party. So next year, I'm hoping for Cisco.
Ooh.
I'm not kidding. I've always wanted Cisco to perform.
That thong, thong.
Yeah, but like after you do that, like next, Unleash the Dragon. Like what else you got?
That's fucking hilarious.
So yeah.
Moving
on.
Yeah, moving on. I'm still
Please.
hung up on this therapist thing, but it's cool.
It's time.
It's time. Rico,
not.
let's go together.
I think that
That is not a good idea. That is not a good idea.
No?
Not you and Rico.
Why?
Just independent, because you'll be
We're-
yelling at each other the entire time.
It would be
We're best
No, I would tune her out. I'd be like, all right.
See what I
I'd
mean?
Stonewall.
Yeah, I'd stonewall it. Yep. I have a great ignore game.
Terrible
Like,
business.
Oh, me too, buddy.
When I decide to
Me too.
ignore, my ignore game is immaculate.
Let's talk about our toxic traits.
Oh.
Were we thinking I'm so fucking toxic?
Because
It's kind
I
of
love this.
ignore game.
kind
I'm
of
sweating though.
fucking insulting.
No, it's like, I know how to ignore.
What's your toxic trait?
Because we know you have them.
Procrastinator.
You're a procrastinator?
Because I do.
So is everyone in America, honey.
No. I know. I enjoy it. I get a thrill out of it because I feel like
You enjoy procrastinating.
I don't enjoy the act of procrastination. I actually hate it while it's happening, but I do really, really, really great work under pressure. Like under pressure, I deliver, and I know. It's like
Me and procrastination,
Sad.
it's like I try to disguise it as me getting like me time.
No.
I'd be like, it's okay. Like, I'm just resting. I really just need this time to myself. I just be lying. Like, bitch, you know you should be doing something right now.
I don't bother lying. I'm like, you know what? You have 10 hours to do it. I'm going to wait hour. There's 2 hours left, and I'm like,
And then kill it though.
100% delivery rate. You know, that's the problem. Let's talk about our toxic traits. But if you guys want to talk about it,
We don't need to.
No. I need a therapist to help me with that. Okay. Whew. Okay. You want to take that off,
Yeah, it's
buddy?
gonna be loud. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It got hot when I started talking about myself. I got nervous.
We're straight into marriage.
Right.
and planning your divorce before you got married.
Right. Ooh, that's so fucking crazy. But it's so fucking real. Okay. But, okay. So on this episode of Divorce Season,
Are we plotting our divorce after marriage?
do you guys think that you would ever get married? Do you guys want to get married? And if you guys do ever get married, do you think that divorce is a reality?
Well, since Josh looked at me, yes, I do think that it is a reality. I never go into something without knowing all of it, but I never anticipate the worst of it, right? So I do want to be married, preferably to 2 women. Shout out to the new polygamy law that just got passed. So I do want to be married, and I know I will be married, right? But the thing is, I'm, like, even right now in my relationship, I feel like when things go south, once I, like, sit down and I calm down, I'm usually the one to try to pull everything back together, right? And one thing that I've learned about me is that if I don't feel as if my partner is trying to pull us back together, eventually I would just let it go wherever it goes. So, with that being said, I would pray that I don't marry someone with that skill or with that toxic trait. You know what I mean? I would not want to be divorced. I'm a fixated person. You know, when I see what's in my vision, it will happen. It's going to happen. Good. And I try to work towards the good. So once I'm married, I'm all in. I'm not a half stepper in life. I've never half step. If I want this, I'm gonna go get it. If I get it, I'm gonna maintain it. And, you know, and I pride myself on that. So once I do get married, I'm gonna do my best to maintain it. But at the same time, I don't want to feel taken advantage of too, because I'm the only one doing the maintenance. So I know that the divorce is reality, but I would realistically try to tune it out until it really became like a legit, like, non-negotiable thing. I don't think, like, I don't know why people do get into like, I'm a person who's big on my word, right? If I tell you that, you know, I think you're a good guy, I really mean it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If I tell you that I think you're a good girl, I really mean it. If I tell you that I love you and I really want to be with you, I really mean it. If I tell you that we're going to be married, I really mean it. Now, I think a lot of people want things because others have it. You know, they want things because we see it, and then they get into it, and then they do their little self-identity check and realize that what they have isn't really what they wanted or suited their real vision for who they are. But a lot of things that I have manifested in my life has truly been me knowing who I was at a very young age. And I'm kind of like what you said. I'm doing and being everything that I knew I was. And that would be the same regard as a husband as well.
I feel very similar. I feel like I'm not going to get into something with the intention of thinking that there's even an option to get out of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't want to go into it thinking that, well, if this doesn't work, there's always a divorce. Like, I'm not trying to go into it like that. I want to go into it saying, this is going to be a marriage and we're going to work through it.
Right.
You know, I think a lot of people and friends, especially when you're young, you go through, like, stupid things like, we're not communicating properly. Well, it's like, has anyone said that you're not communicating properly or suggested a new way to communicate with each other? You know, and it's instead of working that out, it's I'm done, I'm good. You know, and I think in a marriage is very different when you go into it of like, I want to go into that with an open mind and open heart too, of like, there's things that I could change about myself, but let's also have a conversation about you too. And I'm not trying to be directive, and maybe we can work on this together, but the intention is to be married, like you said. Not to go into it with another option that's available, right? Like, I don't even want to think about that. And in young relationships, it's something small and it's done, right? For me, I want to be able to try to work it out, whatever that may be, unless there is a big, larger issue like an infidelity thing, which is then a larger conversation. Would you get divorced?
To be honest, the topic of marriage has always been a little up and down in my brain because for a few years I didn't really believe in it. But, you know, with a lot of D8te Table conversations and my mindset being changed with every episode and with every year that I've been here, I definitely do believe in marriage. I definitely do want to be married someday. And I think that going into a marriage is definitely a big commitment. It's definitely a huge commitment to me. So I don't think that I would be going into a marriage with divorce being a reality. Now, it is a reality. Like, okay, let me reverse. Divorce is a reality in anyone's marriage. But I feel like for me to be married, I don't want to get a divorce. I'm going into a marriage knowing that this is someone that I want to spend the rest of my life with, someone that I am, committing to under oath, for better or for worse. So we're going to have to work it out. We're going to try our hardest to be the best that we can for each other and have the best relationship that we can so that we can see our marriage through. But I just feel like in general, divorce is always a possibility for many reasons that we've discussed today. Obsession, infidelity, Tia's reason for, not wanting... Allegedly. Well, I keep forgetting the reason.
Oh,
What did I tell you to read for me?
Feeling stunted in the marriage.
Yeah, like feeling like, feeling held back, suffocated, feeling held back. Like, these are all reasons to get divorced. But I feel like if I know that this is someone that I do want to push forward in a marriage with, just because I've been so, like, iffy about whether I want to be married or not, that this person has to be it. So I think that marriage is definitely in the cards for me. Divorce is not. That was our segment on the divorce season. It's been a rough couple of days. It has been a rough couple of days. Like, people are getting divorced left and right. And we're just here to give our take on it, Like...
Yeah.
We're here to try to keep people together.
We want the best. We want the best for everyone. If divorce is your route, if, reconciliation is your route, we want the best for everyone out there. It is the season, though, so keep it right and keep it tight, okay? We want to say thank you to having our guest here today. It was a very lovely having you. We loved you. We had a very good segment. You have really good points. Rico.
Don't speak for me.
Rico was Rico today.
Josh, you were great, and I love the fact that you're an expert. I'm going to use a lot of things that you said and take it into consideration, except for the therapy. But go ahead and tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, on Instagram, most social media, Twitter, at Joshy McBee, JOSHYMCB.
Thank you for coming. Everybody, keep on liking, subscribing, and reposting. We appreciate the support, and we'll see you next time at 8 at the Table.